Hi all, welcome back to channel. In this video, it will give you a detailed note on employee expense management with the Odoo 15 expense module. The expenses can be created and reported directly from the expense module dashboard, and it will be filled with the information on the reported expenses. This dashboard is personalized to the user for easier access to the expenses. So before explaining the expense module dashboard, we must know how to report an expense. For reporting a new expense, we can click on this create button. So to understand the expense report configuration, let's go through an example. So we can create an expense report on Michelle who had a client meeting accompanied by lunch. So to begin with, in this description section of this configuration page, Michelle has to enter the cost for the expense. After describing the reason, Michelle has to select the category in which the expense has occurred. For this, he has to go to the category or the product field and choose from this drop down menu. So Michelle has to choose a category that satisfies that reason for the expense. So in this case, Michelle had a lunch with the client. So the category that he has to choose is the food and beverage. Dividing the expense into various categories make it easy for the management and analysis. So the external link next to the selected category can be used to configure the expense category. The next step is to enter the total consumption price in this total field. So Michelle can enter the total amount and choose the currency in which the payment is made. So the default option for the currency is the USD, and Michelle can select any currency from this drop down menu options. Then he can add the taxes for the expenditure in this taxes field. The next step that he has to do is to add the expense date in this expense date field. Then he can choose the account from the account field to enter the expenses. So Michelle can add an analytic account to the expenses to record the expense on the analytic account if necessary. And then he can choose the company employee and choose from the paid by section for defining the payer, employee or company. And Michelle can save the configuration on the new expense report by clicking on the save button, and he will take to the next stage of the expense report configuration. So Michelle has the option to add a receipt to the expense by clicking on this attach receipt button, and he can click on this create report button to create report on the expense. So he will be taken to the next step or page in the process for final configuration, and he can complete the final configuration on the report before submitting it to the manager for confirmation. So all of the configuration on the report will be displayed on this page, and he can instantly submit the report to the manager by clicking on the submit to manager. So after the confirmation from the manager, Michelle can click on this post journal entries button to post the expenses on the journal entries, and he can report the cost on next payslip by clicking on this report in payslip button, and the employees receive the amount of the expense with the salary. And Michelle as a manager has the power to deny the expense by clicking on this refuse button. So note that in this example situation given here, Michelle is also the company's manager, which allows him to have more access to the expenses configuration that the employee won't have. So Michelle can either enter the journal or report it in the next payslip or refuse the expenses. So if the manager has clicked on this journal entry button, the payment registration page will open up, and the register payment page will allow the manager Michelle to overview the summary on the expense report. So all of the details on the report will be given on this page for him to go through. So by clicking on this register payment button, Michelle can approve the payment, which will provide Michelle a tab for configuring and registering the cost. So here can note that Michelle entered the amount and payment date from from on their respective field. So Michelle has chosen the bank and payment method manual in the journal field. So the recipient bank account from the particular field so that the Michelle as the manager can send the money to the bank account. So after configuration, he can click on this create button to generate the payment, which will give him an in payment tag. So Michelle has opted for the report in payslip, then the payment will be automatically included in the employee's payslip. It is often hard for the employee and managers to keep track of the expenses. So the all my expenses feature of the module will let the employees have a complete overview of their expenses. In this window, we can see the details like expense date, description, employees, analytic account, company, total in currency, and the status. And it is possible to view the window according to the Kanban view, graph view, pivot view, and also in the activity view. And the advanced filtering options will allow him to quick access to the expense for easy management and the convenience. So Michelle can manage and have a complete overview of all of his expenses from this page. And Michelle can now manage his expenses report from the expenses report uh, under my expenses in this module's dashboard. And he can Michelle's personalized expense report page will opens up here. And all of the expenses report that Michelle created will be listed on this page for easy management, and he can instantly create a new expense report by clicking on this create button. And Michelle can access the expenses from the expense report tab and can see the options here. So it is extremely important for Michelle to manage the expense report for accurately overviewing them. So if he goes to the reports to approve, and he can get the list of all of the expense report waiting for approvals. So Michelle can manage all of his employees from this page. So all of the employees under Michelle along with their expenses report will be listed down with their payment status. So Michelle can choose from the list of employees for approval management on the expense report. So if Michelle wants to approve the expense of his employee Ronnie Hart, he can simply click on this employee from this list and page describing the employee's expense will opens up. So Michelle can go through the details and decide whether to allow, approve or refuse by clicking on their respective button. And Michelle can edit the configuration done by Ronnie Hart to ensure the rigidity of the expense summary. So I have clicked on this approve button to approve the expense and the page will move on to the next stage. And Michelle can choose whether to enter the expense into the journal entries by clicking on the post journal entries or directly enter into the payslip by clicking on this reporting next payslip button. And the respective tab or page on it will open up based on the option that Michelle choose from the two as mentioned in the expenses management section of this video. The next step in the process is that Michelle can overview the expenses report that are yet to be posted. So all of the expenses report to post will be listed down on this page. So Michelle can click on any from the list to upgrade the status on them. So here Michelle can post the expense report of Ronnie Hart by clicking on it and the configuration page will opens up. And Michelle can go through the details from the page before confirming the report. Posting the report will allow Michelle to effortlessly manage the expenses report. The reports to pay option will allow Michelle to view the list of expenses that need to be paid. But with the steps that Michelle has taken on Ronnie, he already got paid. But Michelle can create a new report to pay from the page by clicking on this create button. And Michelle can create a new expenses report to pay from this page. So after the configuration, Michelle can submit the payment request to the manager by clicking on the submit to manager button, and the manager can approve the payment instantly after this. And finally, Michelle can view all of the expenses report in all reports. So the live status on the report with your payment status will be listed on this page for Michelle to have an overview of the expense management procedures. So Michelle can overview and manage all of his employees' expenses record from all the reports page. So this is how we can create and manage the expense report from the Odoo 15 expense module. So the advanced expense management feature of the module make it extremely easy to work and manage multiple expense report efficiently without any clutter or data loss, and the module will let you have maximum fluidity and workflow in the management for generating maximum efficiency out of its user. So that's all about the video. Thank you for watching.